And what's happening, guys? Well, today we're going to be taking a look at Piers Morgan on a little interview with Clay Travis, who's an ex-teammate of Lia Thomas, the American swimmer, transgender swimmer. So I thought I'd take a little look at it. I haven't watched this yet. The comment section seemed like it was pretty controversial, so I'd like to just take a look at it and see what's what, really. Where do I stand on this matter? I believe personally, and I don't mean this in a nasty manner or in a horrible manner, like or in a violent way or a vindictive way, but I just don't think that men that have went through puberty and have spent a number of years of puberty and that were then decide to be a woman become top of the discipline. I wonder why. We all know why, really. Even the people who support it know why. They've just got nothing better to do with their lives, I believe. I just think that it's taken away from women. Women are amazing humans. Like, without them, we are nothing. Without us, they are nothing. It's simple as that. Man needs woman and a woman needs man. Simple as that. We shouldn't be watering down what it is to be a woman. Fact. But let's take a look and let me know in the comments what you think about this matter, or whether you're for or against. I'm not here to cause drama. We're here just to take a look at what's going on. Okay, so whilst we digest this bit of content, we shall be digesting some Choco Labenza biscuits and some Kinder Mini eggs. Bosh! Let's get straight into it.
Welcome back. Lia Thomas made global headlines when she became the first transgender person to win a national college title at swimming, leading to outrage from the women she defeated. She was ranked 65th when competing as a man. Well, 3 months after that win, she was banned from competing against biological women, but she's now mounted a legal fight to overturn the ban and has potentially the Paris Olympics in her sights. I'm joined now by the former teammate of Lia Thomas, Stand With Women's spokeswoman Paula Scanlon, Outkick's CEO Clay Travis, and people journalist and defender of the indefensible on these things, Ava Santina. So welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, if I may, Paula.
I already know this is going to be annoying because she, absolute split ass.
You have competed against Lia Thomas. In your estimation, how unfair is it that Lia Thomas was allowed to compete against biological females and is now trying to seek legal redress to do so, but potentially removing one woman from the women's Olympic team?
Yeah, it's incredibly unfair. I think just looking at the situation, Lia Thomas was the tallest person on both the men's and the women's team at the University of Pennsylvania. Just the height difference, the muscle difference, the length in bones, the body shape, and also the hormones that males have that women don't. That was obviously a huge factor in Lia being much better than the rest of us. To put it into perspective, the University of Pennsylvania has never had an NCAA female champion until Lia Thomas came around. And I think that really shows that our program went from hardly ever having anyone qualify for the NCAA championship to having somebody win an event. And
you didn't actually compete against her, I think. You competed with her, is that right?
Yes, I swam different events than Lia, but I was on the same team.
Right. I mean, I've just seen, some of the video clips from some of the races she was in, both when she competed as a man and then as a woman. And the difference is just astounding. I mean, in one race, she was winning by over 50 seconds or something crazy.
Yeah, and in that event, actually, the second place finisher was the University of Pennsylvania swimmer that lost to Lia by over 2 laps in the pool.
And if you were a member of the women's Olympic team for the United States, a woman, and you lost your place to Lia Thomas now, how do you think you'd feel?
I would feel terrible. And in fact, the girls that Lia beat when Lia...
Right, let me just tell you now, if you don't know already, these athletes dedicate their life, and I'm talking eat, sleep and breathe the sport. They don't have a social life. They don't do all the things that all the other kids did when they were growing up because they were at swimming practice, dedicating their life to the sport. And now we have full-grown men that have spent 30 years of their life as a man with testosterone flowing through the system. And then they just grow their hair and say, I'm a girl now. And then they just, oh, okay. Like, I just can't get my head around it. Fine, you want to be a girl. That's fine. It's the fact that you don't get the right to compete and take away the dreams of real biological women. It's just not on. And anyone that thinks it is, you're wrong. Now stick that in your pipe and smoke it, crackhead.
They won the 500-yard freestyle. The second, third, and fourth place finisher were Olympians themselves, some of which having medals. So it already happened, and it would definitely happen in the Olympics. And I think that would be a big scandal because it would affect not just NCAA athletes, but all women from all different countries that compete in the sport of swimming, and also in other sports that they allow this to happen in, they'll also be affected as well.
Right. Clay Travis, I've got a feeling in like 10 years' time, maybe sooner, we're going to look back on this period of the
I hope she sticks up for women today.
Earth and think, what the hell were we doing?
But
I think she does it on purpose. Being allowed to happen, and it'll probably culminate in a 6'6" transgender athlete winning the 100 meters women's race at the Olympics by about 50 yards. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I give credit to Paula for speaking out and being willing to point out how ridiculous this is, because I do think it's going to take women athletes more so than people like you and me, Piers, who can look at this and talk about how ridiculous it is. But what we're starting to see is, in America at least, when Gallup polls this issue, increasingly massive majorities of the American population are saying this is wrong. And Piers, I don't even think you have to focus on sex itself.
Look at Caitlyn Jenner. Go and watch a few interviews on what she has to say. She is talking sense. And if they was all like Caitlyn Jenner, there would be no issue. We would all just live side by side happily. You know, like when you're a mouthpiece and you're like and you're you're a lizard. You're an absolute lizard because you're just creating drama to get views. Mental, chicken oriental.
Obviously, men are bigger, stronger, and faster than women as a group. And by the way, that doesn't mean that some women aren't bigger, stronger, and faster than some men.
No, but it is why it is just on that point. It is why we separate the genders at the Olympics. I mean, if you made it gender, if you had what these,
there would never be.
If you had the woke dream of a gender-neutral Olympics, can you imagine how many actual women, biological females, would win a medal? I mean, literally, other than probably equestrian and shooting, maybe. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. There would be no women medalists. That's why the separation occurs. And by the way, Piers, what I focus on is I coach Little League sports. I've got 3 boys. If I showed up for 12-year-old soccer and I had...
You have like the Paralympics for all the guys who are disabled and stuff like that. It's a massive platform for them. You know, it's absolutely brilliant spectacle as well when it's on. You know, it's great to see. Why can't we create a category for transgender? So transgender, who are all on hormone replacement therapy and had surgeries and this and that. And, you know, it's a level playing field then, isn't it? It's not fair. It's just not fair. It's simple. It's as simple as that. It is not fair. There is a women's and a men's category for a reason.
I had a 16-year-old kid on my team. Every parent would say, no, this is unacceptable. You can't do this. Can't do it for baseball, football, basketball. We have all sorts of changes to regulations. You can't be trans age, right? Like, I couldn't suddenly decide that I'm going to be a Little Leaguer. That's why they ask for birth certificates so you can go try to win the Little League World Series, because otherwise people would cheat, you know? And if I suddenly said, I'm coaching, I'm about to head, as soon as I finish this interview, Piers, I'm going to go to 7th grade basketball and watch my 13-year-old son participate.
Waffle, honestly.
If suddenly one of the coaches came out on the court, you know, 6'4", and said, hey, I'm trans age now. Right. Sure, I'm 33, but I feel 13. Everybody would think it was ridiculous. It's just the very essence of sport itself.
Yeah. Okay, Ava, I'm looking at you frowning away here.
Guys, please let me know what your thoughts are on this.
Insane.
I would like to know.
That Lia Thomas, who, as we just heard, was not just the tallest boy in her college when she was competing as a biological male, but obviously the tallest girl as well. How can any of this be fair?
I think, okay, so this is a really interesting topic for someone who is gender critical, because on this show before we have discussed puberty blockers and whether children should be allowed access to them when they are 12, 13 years of age. Now, boys develop when they are 12, 13. The second that they start to have testosterone, that is when they grow bigger, they have a larger muscle mass than women. If you don't want to see trans women competing in women's sports, then you're going to have to allow young children who do not feel, who are experiencing gender dysphoria, to have those drugs when they're young.
No, you're not going to have to allow.
In my estimation, you do one of two things. It's very straightforward. This whole supposed...
Shut up, woman. What are you talking about? Leave the kids alone. Why are they even coming out your mouth?
Insolvable problem is very straightforward. Trans women either compete against other trans women in an entirely new category, as there are more and more of them competing, or they compete against their biological sex, because that is the biology they've been born
Piers Morgan
with. Tell me
be
why that's not fair.
I don't think it's fair that people who've experienced gender dysphoria when they're growing up and don't feel that they are in the right body should not be allowed to compete in sports. And if you're going to take away their rights...
Why don't you care? Look, you go on about women's rights, and a lot of the time I agree with you.
You're missing the point,
women to enjoy utter fairness and equality.
I think this is fair.
How can you possibly sign up to something that is so grotesquely unfair and unequal to women's rights?
Because Lia Thomas didn't wake up one morning and suddenly decide, I'm going to be able to win in the women's category, so I'm going to
That's exactly what she's doing.
That's not what
she's doing.
Lia Thomas,
does she not make your blood
she's a woman, and so she is competing as a woman.
She's a trans woman.
She is a woman.
She's a trans woman.
We can go back and forth on
She's
this.
a trans woman born with a biological male body, which gives her an immediate, massive advantage over women who weren't.
So why aren't other members of her team happy that they're
this woman's meant to be highly educated,
because they can all see that it's unfair.
Is it not a little bit of jealousy?
No, it's just they know that at some stage Lia Thomas is going to probably win the Olympic gold medal.
It would be awful for America. It would be terrible.
Here's why it's terrible. The United States women's soccer team, let's call it soccer for the benefit of this discussion, because they call themselves that, were #1 in the world. The best women's soccer players on the planet. And they got beaten, I think it was 8-1 by the Dallas under-15 boys team. Right? That is the point, is that it wasn't that the women's team weren't great as a woman's team at soccer. It's that put them against a bunch of kids who are male, with male physiology, they got hammered.
Okay.
That's why we separate the sexes.
So what do we say about trans women then? Do we just say they're not allowed to play sport ever?
I just told you what we do.
No, because...
They compete against their biological sex, which is perfectly reasonable and fair.
That's not reasonable.
It's perfectly reasonable. By the way, solves the problem of the dressing room too, and who gets naked with who.
Let's talk about all of those teenage years where they would have been seeking medical treatment and they weren't allowed access to it. Now that's happening in the UK, and it's happening very much so in the US. People are being denied medical treatment when they would like to have it.
All right.
And then when they get to of age, you don't let them play sports.
You and I are going to come back to this when someone like Lia Thomas wins an Olympic gold.
You can play
depriving
sport.
a woman of winning an Olympic gold.
She is a woman.
And you're going to finally say, Piers, you were right all along.
See what I mean about this woman? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and don't forget to drop me a like and a comment and press that subscribe button. Help me help this channel grow. Come on! And if you have any opinions on the subject that we've just covered, come on, let's have a little debate, let's talk about it, and let's be kind. We're not here to incite violence. Debate is always healthy. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.